Joseph Rodyard Kipling was born on 30th December 1865 in Bombay, Mumbai, then under British India. His parents named him after the Rodyard Lake in Staffordshire, where they had met for the first time. His father, John Lockwood Kipling, was a sculptor and pottery designer from North Yorkshire. After his marriage to Elise MacDonald, the daughter of Reverend George Brown MacDonald, they moved to India where he was appointed a professor of architectural sculpture in the Jizibhoi School of Art. Rodyard had a sister, also named Elise, 3 years junior to him. Like most other British children in India, they spent the greater part of the day with Indian nannies and servants, listening to the unforgettable stories they told in their native tongue and exploring local markets with them. As a result, Rodyard became more proficient in their language than in English. But all these changed abruptly in 1871, when both the siblings were sent to live in a foster home in England to be educated under the British system. Arriving in England in October, they put up with Captain Price Agar Holloway and his wife Sarah, who boarded children of British nationals serving in India in their home at Southsea, Portsmouth. Here he was admitted to a school, but found it hard to adjust. Life at the foster home was not easy either. He not only faced cruelty and neglect at the hands of Mrs. Holloway, but every night she cross-examined him on his day's activities, and to save himself, he started telling lies. Later, he jokingly said, "This, I presume, is the foundation of my literary effort." His only break came when each Christmas he travelled to London to spend the holidays with his maternal aunt. Besides, he tried to find solace in literature, an activity not encouraged by Mrs. Holloway. Therefore, to mislead her, he moved the furniture along the floor as he continued reading. By 1876, 11-year-old Kipling was almost on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Fortunately, his mother was informed about this, and in April 1877, she arrived in England to take away her children from the foster home. Much later in 1888, he wrote about his ordeal in Baba Black Sheep. In January 1878, Kipling was admitted to the United Services College, a boarding school at Westward Ho in Devon. Here he had to endure harsh discipline as well as bullying, but later developed close friendship with other boys. Sharing practical jokes and pranks, he also developed a good relationship with the headmaster, who encouraged him to write and made him the editor of the school magazine. In 1881, the poems he wrote for the magazine was published by his father as schoolboy lyrics. On the completion of his schooling, he returned to India sometime in October 1882. That was because he was neither academically bright enough to get scholarships, nor could his parents afford university education. Joseph Rodyard Kipling was an English poet, short story writer, and a novelist, chiefly remembered for his works for children and support for British imperialism. Born in British India in the middle of the 19th century, he was sent to England at the age of 6 for his education. Later he returned to India to begin his career as a journalist, but soon gave it up to return to his home country, where he concentrated full-time on writing. After his marriage, he lived for some years in Vermont, USA, before returning for good to England. He was a prolific writer whose children's books are revered as classics of children's literature. It is believed that at one point he was offered poet laureateship and on several occasions considered for knighthood, but he refused them. However, he accepted the Nobel Prize in Literature, which made him the first English writer to receive the honor.